The story of the beggar is a short but deeply meaningful tale that explores the complexities of human nature, compassion, transformation, and the way small acts of kindness can alter someone's life. At its surface, the story seems to revolve around a simple scenario. A beggar who has fallen into poverty and degradation is given an opportunity by someone who believes in second chances. But beneath that surface, the narrative delves into themes like dignity, responsibility, the power of genuine concern, and how societal neglect can break a person just as much as poverty itself. To understand this story in detail, it's helpful to move through its events carefully, unpacking not only what happens, but also what it reveals about human behavior, morality, and relationships. The story begins with the beggar, a man who is visibly down and out, is ragged, disheveled, and in many ways represents the figure society often overlooks. He spends his days asking for alms, attempting to survive through charity and handouts. The beggar is introduced in a way that immediately elicits a mix of pity and skepticism. On one hand, he is clearly someone who is suffering. On the other, his reputation precedes him. People know him as a drunkard, a man who has wasted opportunities and succumbed to vices rather than taking responsibility. This duality in his character is important because it reflects the way society often perceives people in poverty both as victims and as culprits. Many people who pass by him do not feel the urge to help because they believe he has brought this upon himself, and this belief distances them from offering any real assistance. That initial setup places the beggar not just as an individual, but as a symbol of the marginalized in society. The turning point arrives when he encounters a kind-hearted person who refuses to dismiss him as just another hopeless drunkard. This character, often depicted as a man of principle and compassion, chooses to confront the beggar with honesty rather than with disdain. Instead of tossing a coin or turning away, he engages in conversation. This interaction is crucial because it humanizes the beggar. He is not treated as a nuisance or as an object of charity, but as a human being whose dignity still matters. The man who approaches him recognizes that behind the beggar's disheveled appearance is someone who has a story. Someone who has perhaps lost his way, but not necessarily his worth. In doing so, the story subtly critiques the common attitude of indifference, reminding us that human contact and sincere concern can sometimes be more transformative than material aid. During their conversation, the man challenges the beggar about his condition. He points out the wastefulness of his choices, the self-destructive nature of drinking, and the way he has squandered the potential of his life. At first, the beggar is defensive, as anyone in his position might be. After all, constant judgment and rejection can harden a person. But the way this man speaks to him is different, is firm but not cruel, critical yet not demeaning. The beggar begins to sense that this is not just another scolding, but an invitation to reflect. This moment reveals a deeper psychological truth. People are more likely to change when they feel seen, when the person addressing them is not motivated by superiority, but by genuine concern. The beggar, for perhaps the first time in a long while, feels that someone is taking him seriously, as though he still matters in the world. What follows is a proposition. Instead of continuing to beg, instead of succumbing to the downward spiral of alcohol and self-neglect, the man offers the beggar an opportunity to work. This proposal is not glamorous, does not promise riches or immediate redemption. It's a simple work, honest labor, but it comes with dignity. The offer itself is layered with meaning. It challenges the beggar to reclaim his agency, to prove that he is capable of more than simply extending his hand for charity. At the same time, it reflects a philosophy that true help lies not in creating dependency, but in restoring independence. The man offering work is saying, in effect, that the beggar is still worthy of trust, still worthy of responsibility. This moment captures the central moral message. Compassion is not about temporary relief, but about empowerment. Initially, the beggar hesitates. The hesitation comes from years of being dismissed, from internalized feelings of worthlessness, and from the comfort of familiarity in his current state, however degrading it may be. Change is daunting, especially when it requires effort and discipline. But the sincerity of the offer and the dignity embedded in it gradually win him over. The beggar accepts the opportunity, a small but significant step that signals the beginning of his transformation. His acceptance is not just about earning a wage, it is about reclaiming self-respect. The act of choosing to work rather than beg shows that he is willing to confront his past mistakes and take a different path. The beggar's transformation is not portrayed as instant. The story emphasizes that change requires persistence, and it is rarely without setbacks. The man who helps him does not merely give him work and then walk away. He continues to guide him, encourage him, and keep him accountable. This ongoing support is essential, because rehabilitation is not just about external circumstances, it is also about reshaping the inner world of the individual. The beggar begins to develop a sense of pride in his work, however modest it may be. The money he earns feels different from the coins he once begged for. It carries with it a sense of achievement, a reminder that he has contributed rather than merely received. This psychological shift is at the heart of the story's power. It shows that human beings crave not just survival but meaning, and that meaning often comes through purposeful effort. The story also emphasizes the importance of dignity in human life. For someone who has been reduced to begging, the act of being trusted with responsibility is transformative. Society often strips people in poverty of their dignity by treating them as less than human, by ignoring their existence, or by reducing them to mere recipients of charity. What the man in the story does differently is restore dignity through respect and opportunity. That restoration becomes the foundation of the beggar's renewed life. It suggests that poverty is not just about lack of money. It is also about the erosion of self-worth. Addressing poverty, therefore, is not only about material aid, but about creating conditions where people can feel valued, trusted, and capable. The beggar's gradual transformation can also be viewed as a commentary on the human capacity for change. Many times people dismiss others as irredeemable. A drunkard is seen as forever a drunkard, a beggar is forever a beggar. But the story challenges that fatalistic view. It asserts that, given the right circumstances and the right kind of support, people can change, even those who seem most lost. The beggar's redemption is not miraculous. It is grounded in simple human interaction and consistent encouragement. This makes the story relatable and believable, because it reflects what often happens in real life. Transformation is possible. It usually requires someone to believe in the person who has stopped believing in themselves. The narrative also subtly critiques societal structures. Why does the beggar end up in this state in the first place? What systems failed him? While the story does not dwell on these questions explicitly, they hover in the background. It reminds us that behind every beggar on the street is a story. It's often a complex one, involving personal choices, but also external circumstances, like unemployment, lack of support, or mental health struggles. By focusing on the beggar as an individual, rather than as a stereotype the story invites the audience to see marginalized people with more empathy, to consider the layers of their reality, rather than reducing them to lazy or unworthy individuals. In doing so, it challenges the audience to rethink their own attitudes toward those who live on the fringes of society. Another crucial detail lies in the relationship between the benefactor and the beggar. Their interaction is not hierarchical in the usual sense. While the benefactor is clearly the one offering help, he does not present himself as superior. He does not boast of his kindness or treat the beggar as an object of charity. Instead, he engages with him as an equal, as a fellow human being. This humility is what makes his gesture effective. It reveals that true generosity is not about making the giver feel powerful, but about uplifting the receiver. The balance of respect in their relationship demonstrates how powerful human connections can be when they are free of arrogance or condescension. As the story progresses, the beggar's life continues to improve, not dramatically, but steadily. Each day of honest work reinforces his new sense of identity. He drinks less, he shows up more reliably, and he begins to resemble less the figure of degradation that people once dismissed. Importantly, his transformation does not erase his past, it remains a part of who he is. But instead of being defined by his failures, he now has a future that is shaped by effort and trust. The story suggests that redemption does not require perfection. It requires direction. A flawed man who strives to improve is still worthy of respect, perhaps more so than someone who never struggled at all. On a broader level, the story of the beggar serves as a reflection on the moral responsibilities of society. It asks us, what do we owe to those who have fallen? Should we simply turn away, assuming they deserve their fate? Or should we extend a hand, not just in charity, but in genuine empowerment. The tale does not present this as an easy question. It acknowledges that not everyone will change, that not every act of kindness will bear fruit. But it insists that the possibility of change makes the effort worthwhile. It also reminds us that sometimes what makes the difference is not grand gestures, but simple acts: listening, speaking with respect, offering a chance. These small actions can ripple outward, altering the trajectory of someone's life. By the time the story concludes, the beggar has become a man transformed by dignity and opportunity. His journey illustrates the profound impact of compassion coupled with responsibility. He no longer needs to beg because he has regained both purpose and pride. This outcome reinforces the story's central message. Human beings are capable of change when treated with humanity, and even the most downtrodden deserve a chance to reclaim their dignity. The beggar's transformation stands as a testament to the fact that kindness, when combined with accountability, can heal not just an individual, but symbolically, the fractures within society itself.